Hi there and welcome to the EWC. There are few watches that match that high luxury status of the Rolex Day-Date. Just think of that all-gold president that has been featured in countless pieces of literature, cinema, and pop culture. Unfortunately though, for watch enthusiasts who want to experience that design and quality of Rolex, the high prices make the Day-Date often unattainable. So what if there existed a good, affordable alternative to that watch? Well, there is one, and it's the Tudor Prince Date-Day. Tudor is like Rolex's little brother in watches. Both were founded by Hans Wilsdorf, who first founded Rolex to create high quality, high precision and accuracy, and great looking timepieces. But then he wanted to offer this same quality at a more affordable price point, so he created Tudor. And that's the watch we have in for today, a more affordable yet high quality version of the Rolex Day-Date. Obviously, it won't reach that same level of luxury, but we'll see just how great value for money this watch really is. So let's take a look. So here is the watch we'll be looking at today, the Tudor Prince Date plus Day. Right away you can see the remarkable resemblance to the Rolex Day-Date. This one in particular is the reference 94613. It is on its original bracelet as well, which is great. Let's just have a closer look at the dial right now. Here is the side profile, case back, and that bracelet. Very, very nice. Alright, let's talk numbers. So Tudor Prince Date Days like this one, I found on the used market to be around 3,000 US dollars, give or take around 1,000 US dollars, depending on a whole bunch of factors such as desirability of the variants, condition, service history, whether it has the bracelet, etc. So you could have a look around. That is still a substantial amount, but significantly more affordable than any Rolex Day-Date models you will find. It is also significantly cheaper than a similar watch from either of the two brands new at retail, whether it be a Tudor Date-Day or a Rolex Day-Date. So I think this is an amazing way to get into this particular style and design without having to spend a whole lot. But let's have a closer look at the background of this watch and then dive into the specifics. The story of the Tudor Prince Date-Day began in 1956 with Rolex's launch of the Day-Date. The Rolex Day-Date was the first watch to spell out the day and the date on the dial, thus representing a big step forward in Rolex design language. Needless to say that the Rolex Day-Date was hugely successful as it became a symbol of status and wealth. The most iconic watch from the Day-Date line is undoubtedly the President, which is an all-gold version of the Day-Date that was famously worn by numerous, as the name suggests, U.S. presidents. In 1969, Rolex's little brother, Tudor, finally took advantage of this success to launch its affordable version of the Day-Date, the Tudor Prince Date-Day. Notice the inversion of Day-Date to Date-Day. The Tudor Date-Day was offered in the more affordable materials of stainless steel and two-tone steel and gold, as opposed to the much more expensive materials that Rolex offered, such as gold and platinum. The Date-Day watches managed to preserve much of the essence of the original Rolex Day-Date by featuring a Rolex Oyster case, a Rolex crown, and even Rolex signed case backs. These Tudor Date-Day watches ultimately represented Hans Wilsdorf's vision to offer watches of quality comparable to Rolex at a more affordable price point. Okay, let's look at the measurements. As usual, I'll be using my digital calipers to do so. We have a case diameter of an unusual 35 millimeters. We have a lug-to-lug measurements of around 43 millimeters and a case height let's not get the Cyclops, around 10.5 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters, which is a pretty common width. That means you'll be able to swap this bracelet out for any number of straps you like, whether it be a leather strap, a needle strap, even a silicone strap if that's what you like. This guy is a strap monster, so you could play around with colors and different materials and see which one suits you best. With this watch, we definitely have a whole lot to talk about. Let's start with the dial. We have this white to champagne colored sunburst dial that plays nicely in the light. We have an applied Tudor shield in gold, along with the text Tudor Prince Date plus Day below the 12 o'clock. Above the 6 o'clock, there's the text Rotor self-winding, obviously referring to the movement, and Swiss made printed below the 6 o'clock. We have the complication that this watch is obviously known for, the date plus day, with the date being at the 3 o'clock and the day being at the 12 o'clock in this nicely arched day window. The markers going around the dial are simple gold rectangular batons going with all the hours except the 12 o'clock, obviously. We also have a minute track that is printed around the dial except for the chopped off minute track at the 12 area, just before and just after. We also have matching hands that are gold as well. Simple rectangular hands though, hour, minute, and seconds. They match the dial perfectly. Overall, this is a very, very nice dial, I think. And a bonus feature I noticed later was there are actually lume pips just outside of every single hour marker, as well as on the hands. So the lume is there, although not particularly effective, but nevertheless, it's a nice touch by Tudor. Okay, so this is actually the original glass that came with the watch. It's a standard Rolex crystal with the Cyclops. It is acrylic, so as you may be able to see, it's got a few scratches, but fortunately it's in good condition. Because this is an unusual 35mm case size, the crystal is also a bit of an unusual size. So if you find one of these, expect to have some trouble replacing the crystal. Outside of that crystal is this gorgeous gold fluted bezel. It is definitely one of my favorite features of this watch. It just brings it to a new level of elegance. This watch, being two-tone, has elements of gold but also stainless steel. The case is all stainless steel, polished at the sides and brushed at the top. This is an oyster case, an actual Rolex case, hence why the crown in gold is a screw-down Rolex signed crown. Additionally, if we look at the back, it is stainless steel case back, of course, but actually Rolex signed as well. Because Tudor and Rolex are like brothers, Tudor being the little brother, they do share parts, so this explains why the design is so similar and the parts are also the same. The bracelet is also a Rolex bracelet. Let's see if the camera will focus. There we go. It's a simple two-tone jingly jangly Jubilee bracelet. It is actually a bit stretched being vintage, but nevertheless it does complete the look. Steel on the outside, gold on the inside. These vintage Rolex bracelets were not good quality though. As you can see, it's still jingly jangly. It should not stretch as much as it has. Additionally, we have let's get the camera to focus. There we go. Hollow end links, which is disappointing, and a very, very simple press clasp that isn't too secure, but I suppose does the job okay. However, this bracelet is actually quite comfortable on wrist. I'll show you in just a moment, but a few things to mention about this. Inside this is the ETA 2835. I'll pop up a movement picture for you to have a look. It's not a bad ETA movement, 28,800 beats per hour, 25 joules, and it has around a 40-hour power reserve depending on a few factors. One, on the generation of the ETA, of which I'm unsure for this watch, and also depending on its condition, service history, etc. With vintage watches, don't be too much of a stickler on accuracy and precision though. We just need it to be running relatively well, which this one does. I'll show you the crown operation very quickly. Unscrew the crown. First position is very nice, smooth winding. I'll do second position first so we can hack and adjust the hands as such, and watch for the quick day and date flip at the 12 o'clock. That was almost instantaneous. Again, one of my other favorite features of this watch. So we can keep adjusting the time. I'll just get it to a point where you could see most of the dial. There we go. And if we go back to the first position, we can turn down like that to adjust the day, and up to adjust the date. And that is the Tudor Prince date day. Here is the Tudor Prince date day on my wrist on its original bracelet. It fits me perfectly actually. The case size, the bracelets, and as I mentioned before, the bracelet is actually quite comfortable despite not being of the best build quality. You can swap it out for a number of straps, and I will show you a leather strap in just a second. There we go. Here it is on a black lizard grain leather strap. As you can see, it gives it a completely different look, but this is a great look as well. This watch works just as well on a bracelet as it does on a variety of straps. So if you have one of these, go ahead, play around with some colors and different styles, different materials, and like I said before, find which one works best for you. Alright, let's talk about strengths. So, I really like this Rolex style design. I think the Tudor Prince Date Day is a great way to get the Rolex Day Date look at an affordable price. Dial's very well done. The gold fluted bezel is also very, very well done and just elevates to the watch to a separate level of elegance above what it would be if it didn't have that feature. The two-tone nature of the watch is also very nice. I like that it's a steel case, so I don't have to be too concerned about hitting it on a surface by accident and absolutely destroying a precious metal. So we have some gold highlights to bring it that level of elegance, but the steel case to give it durability and also versatility. So moving on to another special positive. I personally really like that Tudor used Rolex parts. I think it gives it a level of uniqueness separate from other vintage watches and also Tudor of today. I like that Rolex touch with the crown, case, and case back. I think it just further encapsulates the essence of Rolex, even though this isn't quite a Rolex. It's kind of like that middle ground where you get the best of both worlds. There are some negatives with this though, although I will admit I didn't find many. I am absolutely enamored of this watch as a whole. But nevertheless, I showed you the bracelet earlier. I'll pop up a picture of it. It is not the best bracelet. I mean, hollow end links, a stretched bracelet that's jingly and jangly. It's also a pressed clasp, so I don't see that bracelet lasting very, very long, and it doesn't feel particularly well made, although it is comfortable. One other weakness with this watch, I would say, is this unusual 35mm case size. Like I mentioned with the crystal, it's hard to source parts when you have such an unusual size, so when you're buying one, do try to find one that's in good condition. Let's get the camera to focus back. There we go. Get one that's in good condition so you don't have to worry about parts. All in all, I really like this watch. I think the Tudor Prince Date Day does a great job of capturing the essence of the day date but at a more affordable and modest price point. I think it offers great value for money, and you should definitely consider acquiring one if you can. There are a few weaknesses to consider though, but they are compromises to make with every watch. So if you do own a Tudor Date Day or even a Rolex Day Date, please do let me know your experience with that watch down in the comments. Let me know what you think of these two watches, or if there are any other good alternatives you think we should mention. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Thank you very much for watching the Everyday Watch Collector. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel to help others find our videos as well. It really means a lot to me personally and goes a long way to helping the channel grow. Cheers.